Imhotep was an African. You will hear about or read about allopathic medicine having its origins with Arabs, and you'll also hear about or read about allopathic medicine having its origins with Europeans. No, it goes back to Imhotep, because Imhotep didn't just use plants, herbs. Imhotep also used inorganic substances. Imhotep also dealt with surgery. The ancient people of Kemet were some of the baddest surgeons on the scene. And what takes place in allopathic medicine these days? A lot. What takes place a lot in allopathic medicine these days? Surgery. Cutting on the body. That came out of ancient Kemet. That came out of ancient Kemet. But getting back to my point, because I deviated, and I was talking about how in allopathic medicine, the hospital represents the human body fragmented, compartmentalized. And I was talking about how the floors represent certain parts of the body in certain professions, like the cardiologist, one who specializes in or on the heart. But if you got a problem with your feet, you don't go to the cardiologist. You go to the podiatrist. And if you have a problem with your endocrine system or your hormonal system, you go to an endocrinologist. An endocrinologist. If you have problems with your eyes, you don't go to an endocrinologist. You go to an optometrist. An optometrist. These are blue light to protect from the radiation that comes from the screen, because Apple is a great company and produces great products, but they're left brain based. So what's inside of these glasses that protects from the blue light could and should be in the screen, but lack of revenue, lack of profit. Left brain drives profit, not the right brain. Right brain do things for free. Like little children, they operate from the right brain. They dance and sing. They don't say, give me some money now. I did a show for you. Give me money, 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 money. That's Broadway. That's Hollywood, you see. We live in a world that is predominantly left brain based. That's a problem. That's a problem because of all that comes about in the long run from what was created from the left brain. We have to deal with that. And we're dealing with that today. And we're going to be dealing with things in the future, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, from things that were created 20 years ago or 10 years ago. We're going to be dealing with those things. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because the solution could be right brain based. I got videos, man. I got video evidence, man, of what certain countries, mostly in Europe, innovations that are obviously right brain based. They're taking waste and converting waste into fuel. They're taking out the plastic in the ocean, on the land, and converting it into useful things. That's right brain thinking right there. It's so much could be done, man. But, I'm of the opinion that right brain functioning is no good to the economics or the economy of the matrix, which is problem oriented. Yeah, it's problem oriented because the truth of the matter is we're in a solution oriented society. So when you deal with solution, what is a solution? A solution is the answer to a problem or problems, plural. So if we live in a solution oriented society, that makes the statement that a lot of people have problems. A lot of people have problems. And to help these people solve the problems, we put a price on that help. That's for me, just for me personally, because it may not sound realistic, but it's problematic. But again, it's not realistic being in the matrix because money, I mean, yeah, money is an illusion, but because we believe in it, it's a reality. And it's crazy that if you need help and you don't have the money in the matrix, 9 times out of 10, you get no help. 9 times out of 10, you get no help. When President Reagan in the 1980s wanted to save money so that money could be freed up in other areas to benefit people who already had a lot of money, didn't really need any more money, he took from the health field or the health sector of society, and in particular, mental health. Yeah, it's recorded history. In the early mid-1980s, I think he did it twice, 83 and 86, so the early 80s and the mid-80s, Ronald Reagan was responsible for the people who were in mental wards, mental institutions, to be thrown out on the streets. The government, I should say the taxpayers, because government don't create nothing. The taxpayers, their dollars were not going to be used for people with mental issues, people who were institutionalized in mental institutions. Those people were thrown out on the streets. See, that's Western. That's left brain there. The money was there, but a choice was made to free the money up for other areas, like defense, which gets $1 trillion a year. They have money for war. They have money for destruction, for death. War is horrible business. Business with bloodshed. They got money for that. But they don't have money for people with mental issues, people who are suffering with mental issues. They got money for war, the military, defense. They have money for that. They don't have money for all of these homeless people, American citizens, who were once a part of the country. You know, in the economic scheme of things. Also military as well, too. Many of these people who are homeless are military veterans. These were people who believed in defending their country. Went abroad to defend their country, pursuant to their belief. They believed they were defending the country. They didn't know that they were really in different countries to rape and plunder and pillage and loot and do all of those horrible things under the guise of liberation, protecting. Those guys went and did that under a belief. Got back to America, required assistance, probably got it for a while on a short-term basis, but needed it longer, hell, maybe even on a permanent basis. Like a lot of the people who got back from the Vietnam War, they were permanently damaged. So they were going to require assistance in long-term fashion. Permanent problem, permanent solution. But in the 80s, Reagan said, no. Nope. The streets you go. Politics is heartless. It's the playground of psychopaths. I could never be a part of it. I could never be a part of the Matrix. You know how many people have told me over the years, Tahuti, you should be a doctor. Tahuti, you should be a lawyer. Tahuti, you should be this, you should be that. No. See, I sleep good every night. I sleep better than babies. I sleep like babies or better than babies. And that's because of the clear conscience. There's a saying that goes, the best remedy for a good night's sleep is a clear conscience. And that's real. There's another saying that goes, a clear conscience is a righteous man's pillow. And I can dig that. I vibe that. It's all about that clear conscience. We have to be careful of the occupations we involve ourselves in, as well as careers. Because if they are careers that erode the clear conscience, those occupations and careers are insalubrious. They will create problems, physical problems, health problems. That's what we're talking about in this video. We have to be careful, people. So getting back to this hospital that's fragmented, got the body chopped up, compartmentalized, divided, separated. Got a problem with the heart? Man, you go see the cardiologist. Got a problem with the endocrine system, hormonal system, go see the endocrinologist. Something wrong with your feet, man, go see the podiatrist. Something wrong with your eyes, go see the optometrist. The whole body is chopped up. You're female, something wrong with your vagina, your yoni, go see the gynecologist. Whole body's chopped up. Every floor of the hospital represent a bill. This is why bills be so long. Medical bills that I'm speaking of. The medical bills be long. Because they got you fragmented. And so you got a bill because they had to do work on your heart. You got another bill because they have to do work on your blood or maybe your lymph fluid. Another bill because they have to do something dealing with the genitalia. There's something else because they have to do something with the brain. Maybe you went to go see a neurologist, a brain specialist. Man, it's really crazy when you think about it. But see, if you were dealt holistically, then it would just be one fee, because you were dealt with as a whole person. It'll never work in the Matrix, people. And I just like saying that because Lord knows I don't like to come off negative or pessimistic, but I have to tell the truth, man. And this is a society, it's not always easy doing that, you know. People are already beat down, depressed, fearful. And I know for a fact the number one thing that people need today is inspiration, is motivation, especially where we are and especially where we're going. Yeah, I just like saying what I just said, but it's the truth. And when you know the truth, you have a responsibility. And it's heavy. You feel it in your shoulders, man. You feel it. Because you shoulder so much responsibility. We've reached dystopia. We're in dystopian times. I mean, we were prepared. We were prepared really since the 1960s. Picked up steam in the 70s, picked up more steam in the 80s, in the 90s, 2000. Gattaca, The Giver, The Maze Runner, Escape from New York, A Boy and His Dog, The Hunger Games. A lot of films, man. A lot of dystopian films have been made. In Time, where the currency was time, wasn't dollar bills. Yeah, we're there. Yeah, we're the early stages. And based on what happened in the past 2.5 years, from what I observed, yeah, it's not, unfortunately, it's not pretty. The number of people who bought into this most recent psyop, I still see people wearing masks, man. I know somebody that wears a mask in their apartment. She resides alone. And she represents the majority. There are people out there who are conscious, woke, if you will, skillfully speaking. That's a negative term these days. But that class is a minority. And when you have a pseudo or a faux democracy and the majority rules, and the majority just happens to be a bunch of ignoramuses, we're in trouble. If the majority rules, we're in trouble. Especially when the majority is a bunch of ignoramuses, ignorant people, compliant people, fearful people, dependent people. We're in trouble. Yeah, we're in trouble. And as my buddy Legal Man says, you can find him on Twitter, Legal Man, U.S. Law Review. And as Legal Man says, when the people think the solution to this problem, to this tyranny, to this despotism is voting, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because you cannot vote yourself out of tyranny. You can't vote yourself out of tyranny. The founding fathers did not hold a vote. They held a revolution. So we're in dystopian times. But let me get back on track. I'm way more mindful today than I was years ago because I would just spit. Videos be 3-4 hours. But it's a new day. Yeah, it's a new day. not necessarily a good day when you understand all that's going on, the censorship. And it doesn't even matter if you're exposing who's in control of the censorship or who runs everything. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's good to know, but it doesn't matter because the people aren't going to do anything about it. There will be no change. So you can expose people left and right. You can expose certain groups left and right. Not going to make a difference as far as the masses, the people are concerned. So it's good to know, but after you know, what are you going to do? Yeah, I could never be a part of allopathic medicine, man, the field of allopathy. In all due honesty, I call it Rockefelleropathy. See, at one point, medicine in America was on the right road. Herbalism was taught, or herbology. See, I deal with words, people, so sometimes I'll say certain words, and I was like, huh, what? It's just so many words, and I like it. I have Mars and Gemini on my chart, and I enjoy it, and it's a challenge for me. So herbalism, I know that ISM suffix deals with a system, theory, or doctrine. But I also know that ology deals with the science of. So you have herbalism, you also have herbology. And a lot of times I interchange words. So allopathy dealt with herbalism at one point. It also dealt, well, it really wasn't called allopathy. Yeah, it was medicine. It just had a general banner, and they dealt with herbalism. They dealt with homeopathy. They dealt with certain modalities. It wasn't just one allopathy, which it is now. But in America, medicine, man, was on the right path until the Rockefellers got involved. When you hear talk about snake oil salesman, they apply that to herbalists. But when you know what snake oil was, it was mineral oil, and mineral oil comes from petroleum. Who are the gods of petroleum in the Matrix? The Rockefellers. I'm like, that's really messed up that people who deal with plants are called snake oil salesmen. Because you don't get snake oil from Mother Nature. You get plants from her. But man gives us petroleum. And when you study Rockefelleropathy or allopathy, the drugs, they're petrol-based. They come from petroleum. The Rockefellers were using petroleum to make money in war because they were making oil. They were making oil to fuel the tanks and airplanes for war. The Rockefellers benefit big time from war. They've benefited from previous wars, past wars. And when those soldiers get injured and need medicine, they benefited in that respect because the medicine, the drugs, were also made of petroleum. Petroleum is not food, people. You don't eat petroleum soup. You don't order a petroleum burger. Petroleum is it's not food, man. I mean, these people have done a number on us in the Matrix, man. There's so many days in my life where I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled at all that these people have done and that we've allowed. Even under the banner of health. I mean, these people will remove organs, man. Like, you were born with tonsils. These jokers will remove your tonsils. And people thought that was cool back in the 70s and the 80s in elementary school. I got my tonsils taken out. I'm getting my tonsils taken out. You were born with tonsils. They serve a purpose. People would have their appendix removed, all because of appendicitis. The appendix was inflamed. It was speaking. Inflammation is language. It conveys a message. But it doesn't convey the message to remove me from the body. No. It serves a purpose in the body. It's an orchestra. The heart, the lung, the kidney, the spleen, the appendix, everything works together in holistic fashion. But you'll never learn that in the field of allopathy, that's for sure. No. Man. You know, the hope and optimism is on an individual basis. Because, you know, people inquire of me, well, dude, you know all this stuff here. You talk about we're in dystopian time and look bad. Well, why are you so happy? Why are you not worried? Well, it's because of what I know. You know, my mind is alternative driven. I'm always seeking out the alternatives. I know we got horrible air quality, but that's why I have an ozone machine. I have an ozone machine. If I want to order an ozone machine now, I have to have it sent to my home in Sedona. And then I have to bring it to California if and when I visit California. I'm not able to order ozone machines directly from the manufacturer or retailer or reseller and have it shipped into California. So I have to have it shipped into Arizona because California sees ozone as something bad. They don't understand that ozone is enhanced oxygen. And boy, I tell you, yeah, but I gotta stay on track with health. Because politics will be the end of humanity. Politics. Everything is done through politics, man. And we can't live without it. And no matter what, we're programmed to act every 4 years. It's the merry-go-round. And most people just stay on it. And that's why it's the same old same. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Yeah. But in closing, yeah, I'm not a doctor, people. Not a medical doctor. Could never be. I don't care how much money is involved. I could never be. I love people too much, perhaps to a fault. And in my oath to Imhotep, I shall do no harm. I'm conscious about that. What I do to help people, there's no harm. There's no harm. When you understand healing crisis, it's not harm. There is no harm. You may have misunderstanding, but there is no harm. Yeah, there is no harm. So, because of the content or the information that I shared in this video, I'm not a doctor. Please refrain from calling me a doctor. I'm not a doctor. And I never could be. I'm a herbalist. Or as most people say, herbalist. I say herb. Some people say herb. Don't matter. Again, that whole language thing, only with the English language, man.